Working with Clint Eastwood was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had working in Hollywood. It was such a surreal moment in my life and in my career. I'm working on a guest star role where I'm rehearsing and I'm trying to memorize my lines when I get the call from my agent that Clint Eastwood wants to hire you. And I had auditioned for a role for his film, but I wasn't quite sure what movie it was. They're very secretive when it comes to casting their projects. And so I had auditioned for 2 small co-star roles, and then when my agent calls me, she says they want you to play Ayub, the main attacker in the train. And I thought, why not? Sure, I'll work for Clint. I'll work on a bigger role. So I got to fly to Atlanta and we shot the interior bathroom scenes, and I get asked by the assistant director, hey, have you met the boss yet? And I was like, no, not yet. He says, like, let me introduce you. So I go over, I meet Mr. Clint Eastwood himself. He greets me with a warm smile and he's like, you ready? And I was like, let's do it. So we get to work, and it's true what they say. Instead of saying action, he says go. Instead of saying cut, he says okay. And the tension is like non-existent. We're working, he's cracking jokes. I had accidentally cut my finger while messing with something on the set, and it didn't hurt, but I did bleed, and I know better to like let blood get everywhere. So I said, hey, I think I need a Band-Aid. I cut myself. And he goes, stop the shoot, everybody, stop the shoot, get this guy a medic. And he pretended like it was a bigger deal than it was. And of course everybody's laughing, and like in my mind I'm like, this is surreal. I'm working with Clint Eastwood. I was the only actor on set that day, so there was like more attention on me, and I got to just basically interact with him one-on-one. So cool in his directing, and he's just very easy with things. He just makes it so chill. I heard they finished the days early, which they seem to, and they did throughout the shoot. We have our lunch, and then we shoot maybe a couple more scenes, and then we wrap, which is friggin' awesome. It's so sweet. So when we got done shooting in Atlanta, he gets up, comes over to me, extends his hands to shake mine, and he says, see you on the other side. And I thought, all right, cool. So a few weeks later, I get picked up and I'm off to France. We're shooting the scenes on the actual train, which is so cool that they're bringing that experience to even more life by having us shoot there. And it was pretty visceral for the heroes that stopped the attacker. I mean, they felt like they were reliving it. So I get to France, they put me up in a nice hotel, and I got to meet everybody. I meet the crew, I meet my stunt double, who looked very close to being like me. He looked like me. And I was a little nervous because at some point during this trip, I got hurt. I injured my back while I was doing some workouts, and I thought, man, they're gonna swap me with this guy. I mean, he looks like me. Yeah, they might have to redo the interiors. But that might have been my saving grace, that we shot those interior bathroom scenes in Atlanta, and they weren't gonna try to redo that. And also, I think he really liked my look for the character. I mean, I look like the guy. So we're shooting in the train station. Another cool moment was the actual guard that was supposed to be protecting us while we're in one of the train stations in France. She seemingly was professional, and then all of a sudden, when she got closer to Clint himself, she goes, she wanted a photo. And so even the person that's supposed to protect us from the fans that are kind of hanging around the train station, she herself wanted a photo. And it came across a little unprofessional, but as she was walking away, someone noticed she had a Clint Eastwood phone case. And so that's like, okay, true fan. They brought her in, they let her get her photo opportunity, which I thought was really cool, and I'm happy for her. And then when we go to another city, somehow word got out that Clint Eastwood is in France. And you could see people when we're on our way to lunch running between houses and like trying to flank us to get an opportunity to see him. And he was nice. When we were in the train, you could see the fans outside, and he'd wave to them and play along, and it was just like so cool to see that he's still really chill and has a sense of humor. And then of course we're shooting on the train while it's moving, and there was some instances where I got done shooting my scene and he's sitting down at a foretop, and I just feel tired, so I'm like, I'm gonna sit down. This is the nearest chair. And of course, in the back of my head, sometimes it's like I try not to overstep the boundaries, and I'm in this movie, but I don't have lines. I thought about throwing one in there, but I was just like, you know what? I belong. He hired me, so I sat down next to him, and he was very inviting. We started chatting about different movies and different things about guns, and I told him that my favorite gun was the one that he pulled out in Gran Torino, where he does that motion and pretends to, mimes shooting his, I guess, nemesis, or the gang that he's up against. So I thought, and he made a comment of that, and we went back and forth. It was really cool. It was really cool to experience all that. And of course, when we had the wrap party, we got to make a toast with, he had a beer and I had a glass of wine, and it was awesome. Fast forward to wrapping everything. The ultimate icing on the cake was getting to take my mom to the red carpet. She grew up watching Clint Eastwood with her sisters in Iran. I mean, he was that much of a legend back then. And so taking her there, getting to meet him again and introduce him to my mom. And the mistake I made at first was I trimmed my beard down because I thought, hey, let these people see me in a different light. Maybe there's another role out there. So I shaved and I looked really clean cut. And so almost to a detriment, because a lot of people didn't recognize me. And so I get close to him, and he has, security flanking him. And I was like, hey, I'd like to introduce my mom to Clint. And they're like, who are you? And then I had to explain, like, hey, I'm in the movie, I'm that guy. And so then one of his assistants was like, all of a sudden, the realization happened, and she's like, oh my God, okay, sorry, we didn't realize who you were. So she turns to him and says to his security that, hey, Ray Corsani wants, to say hello. So he turns around and he kind of gives me this look, and of course it clicked. I was like, it was awesome working with you. This is my mom, she's a fan. And of course my mom was absolutely speechless, but she was all smiles. She got the photo opportunity, and from that day forward, I haven't had to ask for any validation from my mom about choosing to not pursue medicine or be a lawyer, pursue acting as a career. And that was like the moment in my life where the tides have changed. And fast forward to today, I got to work on Taylor Sheridan's Special Ops Lioness, now titled Lioness, season 1. It was an awesome experience, and I almost got to take my dad to the red carpet there. But unfortunately, the actor strike happened. We didn't get to go, but there will be many opportunities to come. That sums up my experience working with Clint Eastwood. One of the coolest moments in my life, coolest opportunities, and he is the legend that people say he is, and much more. Everybody that works with him have worked with him for many years, and they don't leave because he's like such a cool person. Makes you feel like you belong. And as long as you do your job, you'll have a good time. So I'm looking forward to working with other directors, but this one will go in the history books. And if you haven't seen the movie, check it out. Let me know what you think. It was a really cool experience. I got to build some muscle, to look the part. And yeah, it was definitely one of those memories I'll cherish for the rest of my life.